Morning everybody, it's Sunday the 15th of May. A little bit cold overnight, but the sun's out and it promises to be a really nice day again. Just thought I'd do a little update on what I've been doing this last week on the allotment. You remember in one of the recent updates I mentioned that I would try and use the ground sort of left redundant in the middle of the apple trees by making a raised bed, and that's what I've done. I've managed to get hold of some scaffold planks. I looked around online and they were quite expensive to buy second hand. 10-foot planks were for sale at about £8-9, and 13-foot planks at about £12. So and I needed probably about a dozen or so. So instead of taking that route, I instead telephoned several local scaffold firms and just asked whether they'd got any old boards kicking around, that they didn't really need. And I rang a couple and they didn't have any. They'd just got new stock because they have to comply with all the latest safety regulations. But then I dropped on a company that's literally only a mile away, and they were in the process of cutting down some of the boards. They've got lots of 13-foot boards, and the ends of the boards are always strapped with a metal strap, but over time they tend to split, and obviously they're weakest at the end. So what they were doing is they were cutting down the 13-foot boards and making 10-foot boards and re-strapping them, and they allowed me to take as many as I wanted. So they charged me £3 per board, and they're in really good nick, and I've got 5 there. So I've got a 20-foot bed, 2 10-foot boards together, and then a 10-foot board cut into half for the end pieces, one at the top and one at the bottom. So it's 5 foot wide. It's a little bit on the wide side. You can just about reach into the middle. A little bit shorter would have been better, but I wanted to make the most of the space on the ground and obviously to minimise the amount of cuts as well. And I've got another half a dozen boards there, actually 7 boards, 2 just for using as planks on the beds because the beds are quite wide, they're about 12 foot wide, and then the other 5 there, they're going to go on top of the bed here just to raise it. For this season we'll probably just stick with what we've got because obviously the soil level's quite low, but I've nailed the boards at the bottom, but the next layer I'll screw them, pilot and then screw, so they're easy to remove to get in and out if we need to. I've also put in long corner posts, 3x3s, the idea being that even with the next board on, I'm left with 75 centimetres a post, and I can use that as a frame over which to hang netting. Obviously I'll maybe have to use some posts in between those, maybe a cane system or something like that, or lats across the top, but I'll be able to drape netting over the top. So I've tried to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and future-proof it a little bit. I think it looks quite nice, at the side of the apple trees that are now in blossom. The other job that I've done in this last week, because I had a short working week and I tried to make the most of it, is I've netted up the fruit cage with chicken wire. I needed a hand for that. I've got a cousin who helps me whenever he can, and he's done a lot of work. I've not mentioned him previously, but he's had a bad back of late, and he run a nail on the allotment last week, so he's out of action again, but he's helped with some of the heavier work, laying the paths, and quite a bit of the initial preparation of the plots as well. So he's a godsend. Makes it more enjoyable as well to share what you're doing. So we've got the fruit cage all netted up. I just need to weed that out now and then mulch it with manure. So a little bit more of the structural work done. I'm not going to go into great length today on the allotment because I've not done a great deal more. I've got to move a few things. I've got to take the netting off the broad beans over there and plant out my Brussels sprouts, and I'll reuse that wood and netting. But I wanted to get the raised bed finished, because before too long, say hi to the potatoes there as we pass, before too long I want to put swede, turnip and kohlrabi into this bed, into this raised bed. So we have a cup of tea now, and then I'm going to dig the soil over in the raised bed, and I might add some soil from one of the beds on the first allotment before it's planted up, and then at the end of the season we'll top dress it with manure, and then next year possibly build it up to the next layer. So that's just a quick update today. I'm going to tack on to this video a potato reveal that I did at home yesterday on Saturday the 14th of May. Wasn't a very auspicious start to the potato reveal season, as you'll see, but we had them for lunch yesterday. We're going to have the rest today, and they tasted very nice. So have a great week. Thanks for popping by. See you later. Bye. Morning everybody. This is the first potato reveal of 2016, and it's the first one I've done on film before. This is a Swift. It's 11 weeks and 5 days since these were planted, so it's about 82 days if my reckoning's right. It's not flowered yet, but allegedly it can be ready within 7 to 8 weeks. But we have had cold weather, so it might be a disappointment, then again it might not. But as I've said before, I've got plenty of pots of potatoes. I've actually got about 30 pots here and down on the allotment. So curiosity killed the cat. We'll see. So I'll just cut the tops off. Right, and we'll look at it. Right, and it's full of ants. So at this point, I probably should put some gloves on, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. It's absolutely teeming with ants. It's nice and warm in the greenhouse, and ants like warm compost. It's one of the reasons I store my compost outside the greenhouse. Hopefully the rest of the pots won't be like that, but I'm going to stop. I'll show you just how many ants there are, and then I'll put some gloves on. Just be a sec. Now I don't know if you can see those lovely potatoes, but this pot's also home to an ant's nest, and there's millions of the little buggers, so I'm going to have to put some gloves on. Right, I've got some gloves, I'm going to put them on. This pot really is teeming with thousands of ants, so I need to be careful, I don't want to get bitten. Luckily it doesn't look like they've got much of an appetite for potatoes, so my potatoes look alright. Right, put my gloves on and we'll see what we've got. Potato. Another sweet potato. Another seed potato. Put 4 in. in this one. There's the fourth one. All rotten. Well, that looks about it. Too early, wasn't it? There's no more than about £2 there. And the cold weather certainly hasn't helped. I've got some scales, I'll weigh them. Exactly £2, which is not a very good yield. £0.5 per seed potato. So although they've been in nearly 12 weeks, the cold weather's really not helped. So I'll leave the others probably for a couple of weeks before I open anymore. So that's it, first reveal.